Ụlọ nsọ gị Chukwu ka ị na-abata, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Anya bịawa ịsọpụrụ gị ugbu a, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Chukwu nna n'ụlọ gị ka ị na-akpọ gị, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Otito na-adịrị gị mgbe niile, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya. Otite niile dịrị Chineke mmanụ. Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Chiism Live. I'm your host, Okedibia Ochoaja, Dr. Wa Onyoha Osimiri. Today, my co-host Dibia UD Onyoha is not going to join us today. He's traveling somewhere. He's always on the road doing fun things. So that is what he's doing today. So hopefully he'll join us Saturday at the conference that we're having in Snellville, Georgia. In the meantime, I welcome all of you, those who are with me in spirit, those who are in the forum, and wherever you are, may today be great for you. I want to start by, since the drums have called upon these ancestors to join us today, I want to take the time right now to offer some prayer. I think it's imperative that we start everything we do with some prayer. I have a special prayer. I wrote this prayer out because I think it's very, very important, pertinent for what is going on in our world today. You know, a prayer for our collective inspiration. So much going on, so much disturbance, so much problem. And a lot of times when we pray, we're asking for our own individual good. Certainly, there are many people who ask for collective prayer, but a lot of times we ask for individual good. And it's important that we are doing collective prayer, you know, for certain things that are going on in our world. I don't know where you are perched right now, but I know that your world may well be in turmoil. And if it is, it's time to pray for the collective, time to pray for everyone's good. Because like it says in our presentation today, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's an African proverb. Very meaningful, very inspirational, and makes a lot of sense. And it is imperative that we pay attention to some of them. That's what I love about African proverbs. They're so highly spiritual and meaningful and bring so much to the table if we will take the time and look at it. If you're praying today, don't focus on just yourself, because quite frankly, the world is in such turmoil that we need collective thought, collective prayer. So I wrote this prayer because I thought it was imperative that at some point this week or whenever, that our focus must be what's going on in my backyard. What's going on outside the fence? What's going in my neighbor's life? What's going on in the country? What's going on besides what's going on with me? We need to pull away from selfish thought, selfish thinking, and look at the collective. I think, quite frankly, what makes me happy as a human being is that I understand that I'm a vessel of Chineke. I am a vessel, and to be the vessel of change, you are prepared to do the work necessarily to make the world a better place than you found it. So when I offer this prayer today, this prayer is for our collective good. Before I go any further, let me just welcome some. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. We appreciate you. And thank you for all of you, wherever you are, wherever you're perched. I welcome you. I welcome you. I'm praying today to Chineke to do one thing for us, and that is help us understand the importance of unity and collective work. We ask Chineke to bind us together with the sacred cord of brotherhood and sisterhood. One name and one name. May every band, or rather, may every hand find every other service and every mind be open to share wisdom. Us to build together, to sweat side by side, and to celebrate the fruits of our labors as one people. As one people. And that's the key of the prayer today. As one people, that we work together, that we celebrate the spirit of Ubuntu, that we celebrate the spirit of Anibo Wanne, or Gazeregi. If it goes well for me, it will go well for you. I pray for you everything I pray for myself. Everything positive, I pray for myself. So we ask Chineke for acceptance, and Chineke has woven together all these colors, all these beautiful aspects of nature, languages, and cultures into the tapestry of humanity. We're not here alone. Grant us the grace to honor every thread, to hear every tongue with respect, to learn from every tradition and with humility and love, to love every skin, to love every face, to understand that we're not the only ones in this world. And we want to offer prayer for hope in fear and confusion. Right now, our lives, I don't know where you are, there's just so much fear. Fear of speaking and saying something that somebody may not like and come after you. Fear of speech not being a given anymore, not being now it's a privilege instead of a right. We pray that Chineke will help us understand that the only way we will maintain our freedom of speech is to demand it. Demand it as a collective. When shadows of doubt and anxiety close in, we must breathe in courage into our spirits. Let the memory of dawn's promise banish the terror of night. In moments of uncertainty, remind us that you guide even the smallest sparrow's wing, and your light will lead the way. We're never alone, Chineke. We know we're not. And sometimes we think we are. We don't understand. If we just reach out to our brother, our sister, a lot of our issues may well be lessened. May not go away, but it will be lessened. So we don't need to live in fear, because Chineke has already given us everybody that can help us. We just need to reach out and touch each other. We have a sacred and shared destiny. Zainario Chineke, please remind us that everything that we're looking for, that's what our brothers and sisters are looking for. So let us understand that our destiny lies in our hands, in the hands of our neighbors, in the hands of our friends, our family. And as long as we can work together, we can forge forward to build our destiny. And our destiny, believe it or not, is for peace. For peace and understanding. And so, Chineke, we're asking today that you help us collectively walk together, hand in hand, not in fear, but in the strength of our unity and the hope of our shared destiny. You say to us, we shall find. find it all by ourselves. We have to find with each other. We have to reach out to each other, love each other, and understand that as long as we mentally know that no problem can solve that person, many problems are served, or rather solved as a collective. So every way of our lives and all of our acts are good and will be universal. With humanity everywhere prosper because we've lived, because of our actions today. And so it is. And I say, and yagazie. Wherever you are, wherever you are today, because I'm not speaking for me, I'm speaking for us. So much pain, so much confusion, so much frustration. People trying to make it, fighting hard, doing everything within their power to make it, but it always seems like it's just not happening. Fear not, because there's always somebody, if you believe it, there is always somebody that can help you up. There's always somebody that can help you up. And that is what we want to say to you today. Our focus is on unity. Don't go it alone. Don't go it alone. Before I bring my co-host today, Divya Chedozie, who's joined me now, I want to share this story, why it's so important. I think I've shared it before, but I'm going to do it again, just in case you didn't hear it very well last time. I talked about why it's important to see the world, not from the perspective of just me, myself, and I, but from the perspective of the whole. Because if you look at the world from the perspective of everybody bringing something to the table, you take from here, you take from here. Before you know, your bag is full of knowledge and information that you can use. That's what it means to add to your repertoire. We need to not focus on our race, not focus on our gender, not focus on our wealth, but focus on what's good for humanity. I told the story about the young man who went up to the mountains and asked the sage, what is the meaning of life? He did not know. He couldn't explain life. Too much frustration. And what he's trying to find, why am I here? What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning? If I say I'm alive, what does that mean? So the sage took him to the river and said, here you are at the river. I want you to stand right here and you watch the river. It will tell you what life is all about. So he went, stood by the river and watched. It was just beautiful. It was spectacular. The sun was shining so beautifully on the river. He says, this is so beautiful. I must recreate this. So he went and bought canvas, paint, all that sort of thing. And then he started painting. Oh my goodness. It was beautiful what he was painting. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, some monkeys jumped from the trees and jumped into the water, murked up the water. Oh, he was so angry. All that beauty that he just saw had just disappeared because these monkeys came and jumped in there. So he decided he'll come back the next day because the sage told him, you come back after 3 days. So he says, well, I've got 2 more days, so I'll come back the next day. Next day he came back, and this time he came in 1 hour early. I know the serenity of the river was just so captivating. He started painting again. And while he was painting, all of a sudden, the sea otters came in and the monkeys jumped in. Oh my goodness, they're messing up everything. The water wasn't still anymore. So he said, well, I've got 1 more day. If I came in just 1 hour earlier tomorrow, I may not see all these pesky animals in the river. So the 3rd day he arrived. And he came in 1 hour earlier. It was just absolutely gorgeous, of course. Nothing was messing up the water, nothing. So he started painting, and he tried to paint as fast as he could before these rascals would come and mess up the serenity of the river. But unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. Then the crocodiles, then anything you can think of, jumped in the water and started just splashing about. He was so disgusted, he decided this was his 3rd day. He was going to go up the mountain and tell the sage what he learned or did not learn, as it were. When he got there, the sage asked him, well, what did you learn about the river? He said, I really didn't learn anything about the river because I was trying to paint it, and all these animals and everything came in and just worked up the river. The sage said, yes, you did learn something, but you weren't paying attention. See, the river is life. And in the river, in life, there are different animals, different people, different kinds of situations, places and principalities, all sorts of things that are different from your perspective, from your sight, from what you see, from what you know. But that's life. Now, when you're complaining about all these things, jumping in the water and murking it up, what they are doing, however, is they are living. They are part of life. You, on the other hand, you want to sit by the shore and complain about people murking up the river, messing up your life because you think it belongs to you. No, it does not. It's a collective thing. And if you want to be a part of this life, you must be a part of the life. You must embrace all the different people that make up this life we live in, make up this world we live in. Just like that river. The river is made up of all sorts of animals. If you sit back and want it to be tranquil, to suit you, you will never find and understand what life is all about. Life is about tolerance. Life is about living together. Life is about building yourself up, but at the same time, allow others to do the same thing. If you want to go fast, go alone. That is the topic today. If you want to go far, go together. Because an individual can do something right away and boom, boom, boom. That's the moment. You're achieving the moment. But if you bring more people to work with you, you will go further. What you're doing will be stronger because of the collective effort. That's an African proverb. And that is what I'm sharing with you today. It is my pleasure now to bring in my co-host today, Dibia Chiedozie. Mamao. Mamao, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm good.
You're good. Yeah. I was talking about what the importance of us working as a collective, not just as individuals, because right now the world demands that we all work together. Because if we work as individuals, those in power will take advantage of us. They can overcome us quite easily. But as a collective, it's amazing, some of the things that I'm seeing right here in the US, where the collective effort of people is causing the rich to bow. Because you can either sit there and worry about what's in your own best interest, but if you collectively show the world, listen, we're not going to take this anymore. We will make it, but we're not going to do it individually. We're going to work together. And that is why this meeting that we are having on Saturday is extremely important. And I'm going to let that sit there because that's what is going to happen on Saturday, where religious leaders are coming together in Snellville, Georgia, to talk about how do we build peace in this world? Because too many of us think it's our way or the highway. I had an individual that will not participate because of fear of all the other individuals that have their own different thoughts and how that will confuse Jesus and how will confuse the Pope and all that. What's that got to do with anything? If you cannot comfortable enough in God, in your God, so that you can sit with other human beings, then I don't know what you're praying to. Because the God that I believe in, Chineke that I believe in, created all this diversity, all these different people. And if we want peace, if we want to go further in this world, we must look at other people. We must jump in that river and swim. That is the only way you find peace in this world. Chiedo, please, your thoughts before we go any further.
Yeah, good afternoon all. I think today's topic, I'm echoing, right?
No, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. No, you're fine.
All right. Today's topic is a very catchy one. It's one that speaks to the problem or the trouble confronting the world today. Mm-hmm. I think for me, if you ask me, there's a deliberate attack on collective effort, mm-hmm. so that you can divide the people and narrow them to a few groups that lack power
Yes.
and enlightenment so that you can easily control them. And
Mm-hmm.
that is being made worse by this question of AI. And everybody wants to leave everything to the AI, forgetting that the AI or artificial intelligence is a human product, not the product of all of us, but a product of a few who want to use the AI to muzzle us up to what they want us to be, become zombies, and then want the AI to speak for us. And so, uh, going together is one thing, but going together as competent individuals is another thing. Because if we go back to what used to obtain in communalism, which Julius Nyerere wrote as Ujamaa, African brotherhood, African sisterhood. If we go back to communalism, we discover that communalism was best based on the government of the best. It was based on competence. And you cannot be competent without self-enlightenment. And if you have not attained self-emancipation, self-mastery. And so first, I like to pick on those things that make us to go far. What are those things that will make us go far? First, we have to gather self-mastery, self-discipline. Then we have to attain enlightenment of self. And then we have to do this with the knowledge of knowing that we are just one individual atom in the whole universe. And so we need other atoms to cooperate with us. Because in the universe, one atom does not constitute the whole universe. One cell does not constitute the whole organism. One tree does not constitute the forest. One sand does not make the earth. Neither do we go to the seashore and see one sand. We see heaps of sand in their trillions and zillions. That's what we see. And we see that every atom is performing. No atom performs less than the other. And exactly the energy that every atom dissipates is the energy it gathers back, because there's constancy and regularity. Now, so if we want to really go far, we must tackle issues like incompetence, ignorance, poverty of the mind, which make us to lack self-confidence. Then we must deal with problems like selfishness, being self-centered. We must learn how to practice or how to live a life of moderation. Like I just told someone before I came into this program, even kindness has to be practiced with moderation. Wickedness has to be practiced with moderation, because whatever you do to the extreme has a boomerang in effect. So we must learn the way of temperance, the way of moderation, the way of regulation, steady character, endurance, perseverance. These are the qualities that make us to become resilient, reliable, responsible, and responsive. And so we need the virtues if we must go far. Because going far means that we have to leave the philosophy of the roots of the trees. Like our people will say, "Ugu nkwatalo nkwatalo, mere mgbọrọgwụ osisi akwara osisi ji achara ọha n'okpuru ala ka a na-etu nri maka ọganihu." It is out of respect that the roots of the trees create spaces for themselves as they burrow through the earth, searching for their own kinds of nutrient because of progress. So if nature has created it in such a way that the roots cooperate, roots of the tree cooperate, the trees understand this law. I think there's a particular place, I don't know whether it's in Southern America or the Americas, where earthquake happen, but certain trees that are fond of locking up their roots, they lock up their roots underground, and each tree connects the other tree. Each tree, those ones remain hanging. They're the only trees hanging. Meanwhile, everything went down. And so that shows us the strength of collectivity. And that's why each one of us must attain that level of knowing that I alone cannot stand in the midst of all the hazards of the universe. I need others to cooperate with, coexist with, cohabit with, in sincerity, in all honesty, in diligence, and all the virtues. When we do this, then we can go far. But should any one of us derail or begin to economize these virtues, then going far will become a regressive journey, whereby we take one step forward and 10 steps backwards. This is what has happened to African communalism with the intrusion of extreme individualism from the West. And so we have gone fast. The politicians are going fast. So they have fat accounts everywhere they can go. They can buy the jets, but they don't have peace. And even in their communities, they're not accepted. What we have is peace of the graveyard, peace that is coerced, and peace that is forced. There's no cooperation. And so there is no human development. If there is no human development, then the environment and the society cannot develop. I will cut it short for now. I think you muted yourself.
I'm muted. I beg your pardon. I don't know how that happened. But, the difference between individualism and collectivity is, or rather collective, individual action and collective action. Let's be clear. You're right. We must develop ourselves, right? We must develop the necessary virtues that allows us to work with others. We can make decisions as individuals when we get it together. And those decisions can actually help us get to where we want to go, right? Faster. But it does come with a cost, right? You don't have all the resources that you need, And even though thinking as an individual is faster, it will get you where you need to go faster. But ultimately, there are things that you lose along the way that you could have, your resources, because, and the reason why collective action, it takes a little bit longer is because of the fact that everybody has to bring their thoughts together, right? We have to discuss, we have to have conversations before we draw conclusions. So it takes a little bit longer, but it creates a little bit more sustainability. Things are a little bit more likely to be sustained if everybody buys into it. I think that what has happened in some of these countries that, unfortunately, we are at war, not necessarily with the bombs dropping, but we are at war with each other, our societies, because of all the different, individualistic thoughts that we have. I'm a man, so, the world belongs to me. Women should not be a part of it, or I'm a woman, etc. I'm Hausa, I'm Yoruba, I'm black, I'm white. We start thinking not as individuals who understand the world, that the world is not just one. The world is different, and to create peace, we have to look at all the differences and add that to our understanding of what the world is, and then grow as a collective. Not grow just as an individual. Yes, an individual will grow. Yeah, there's no two words about that. But if you're traveling, if you're on your journey, you cannot get anywhere on your own. You may have everything you need to work with, but once you start that journey, I gotta have a cab. Maybe if I don't have a car, I'll take a taxi, right? Along the way, I may get hungry, right? I have to eat, etc., etc., etc. You don't do that on your own, unless, of course, at home you pack everything you need. But halfway, somewhere, you're gonna need the world to come into, into the picture. I say all of this to say the reason why I believe that the world is in turmoil is because the world refuses to see other people as pertinent, as relevant in the whole scheme of things. Because I want to be a doctor, right? He doesn't want to be a doctor. He's less than me. He wants to be whatever, right? I want to be. I see my world is all about being a doctor. But we forget that that doctor needs all those different other people to become a doctor. Whatever it is we're doing as individuals, there is always a time that somebody else will come in. The reason why we're having this OTRA, International Spiritual Peace Conference, is personally, I have been to a lot of conferences where it's called by particular religious faith. But when all is said and done, they still want you to buy into their way. It's still my way or the highway. And when I leave that environment, I understand that they don't really know what life is about, because their life is just wrapped up in that, whatever their book is, their holy book. And that's all they know. And so everybody else is wrong. Everybody else don't matter, because this is my word. Even though I invite you to my space, but you're not that. How come you're not that? How come you're not that? What do you believe in? It doesn't matter. I showed up here to be with you. What my background is not, it's not the problem. Am I here? I have a woman who invited me out to eat, out to lunch, and just all I heard was how her spiritual way was the only way to get to go. Anything else is witchcraft, anything, I just listened to that. And I said to myself, why in the world would I want to be like you? I wouldn't want to be like you. Listen to what you're saying. If I don't believe it, anything that's not what you believe in, then that's witchcraft. So that means your mind is not open. You're not welcoming. You don't want to hear other people's opinion. That's where we are right now. And the reason why religions need to come together, because the religious leaders are the ones who are standing before a podium every single Sunday, talking to them, teaching them whatever it is they're teaching them. And these people listen to you. So if you're my way or the highway, those individuals, that's how they would think. They don't understand the diversity. And diversity is important. It is truly important to find peace. Believe what you will. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you being whatever your religion is. But understand that the culture, the environment, the upbringing, all of that plays a role in how people think. And we need to be cognizant of that. We need to see that river and see all that diversity. You come in with what you have to work with, and let other people come in, and together we'll find a solution, one way or the other, to some of these things that are going on. But never cede your power as an individual, yes, but don't underestimate the power of collective. And that is one of the things that I am excited about, this program that we're having on Saturday, because let me tell you, this is the first time, and one of the gentlemen who is the head of Vodou, this spiritual religion, Vodou, this is the first time he said that he has been invited to other religions, a gathering of other religious organizations or faiths, because everybody thinks of him as practicing witchcraft, as practicing something that's odd, and they don't want to be a part of that. But when he got there, he says, this is not what Vodou is about. People don't know that. So for you to invite an African spirituality, I say that's what African spirituality is. It's diverse. There's something that can be learned from each aspect of what we believe in, and we just need to. What we can't use, we don't use. What we can, let's add it to our repertoire. So this is a gathering of Christians, of Vodou practitioners, of Ifa practitioners, of Rastafari. I'm still trying to get the confirmation from the Native American spirituality that's supposed to be there, of Shiism, of Islam. The Imam is going to call in from Senegal to speak. But this is the first time it's not just the Abrahamic religions and Eastern religions being invited to an event for a spiritual gathering of all spiritual leaders, spiritual thoughts, paths. So we're going to make it a quarterly thing, because it's important for us to see that our world can only work if we all work together. If we don't focus on hate, if we don't focus on whose way is better, done. Nobody's way is better. There's strength in diversity. Strength. When you believe in diversity, you can flex your muscles, big muscles, because it's not just your little muscles that's right. The collective muscles. So we need to, and as Chiists, we fight for what we believe in, but we don't fight against what you believe in. Viewpoints are very important, and when we allow others to come in with their thoughts, what we're opening up is an opportunity for creativity, innovation. Now, I may have my certain things that may work for me personally, but it may not work for the collective. So it behooves me to find out what other people know, that I can possibly expand my contribution. You can never learn too much. You can never learn too much, know too much. Anything you learn today, that's why children, as they grow, they learn more and more. They become more and more competent, more and more confident, because they're learning from here. They take from friends, they take from mom, dad, everybody. Now, I'm not saying that we should go back to childhood. As we go through this journey, we need to open our eyes and our ears and minds to see all that diversity, because it just creates a more opportunity for us to do long-term work, long-term things. There are some things that we do on our own and we can't do it because we don't have all the answers. And then because it didn't, that's because we didn't seek other ideas, other thoughts, other contributions, other people's, thinking about how things are solved. And so in so doing, we give up because, we have mentality of me, myself, and I. I couldn't do it. And because you couldn't do it, then, well, hey, it can be done. It can. Because we can't find peace in the world, it's not because it's not doable. It's because broken into all these factions, racial factions, religious factions, academic factions, name it, male, female, gay, straight. No coming together. And then we want the word chaos. And then because about the me, mouth, and I concept of existence, we go to war with somebody who doesn't believe in us. And then we lose as we go to war. The person that we are fighting loses their humanity. Killing them means nothing. Look at what's going on in the world. We just go and drop bombs and just blow up whomsoever we choose. Because they are the other. We don't see their relevance. We don't see how we can work with them. They don't matter. Only what we think matters. We blow them up. And somehow we think that's power, that's strength. The weakest individual is the one who delights in hurting other people. If you're comfortable in your own skin, there is no need to step out of your house to go kill somebody or kill a collective of people. And then you laugh about it. People are being killed in boats. And we still don't know why. Because they are the other. We don't see the need to look at everybody. Everybody has value. And we don't do that, we cannot have long-term peace, because we believe that only exists in our backyard. As long as I can do my barbecue and have my chicken and my corn and whatever the heck I'm having, I'm good. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're poor. I don't care if you're dying. Yeah, that's your problem. Because we don't see the connection. We don't see each other as resources that can help us go beyond where we are. Dibia.
Yeah, I would like to take the matter on the perspective of world government. I think there is something wrong at the level of governance. If we look at governance, we think worldwide, we think that governance means putting others down so I can gain from their disadvantage, cause problem for others so that I can gain from their disadvantage, and getting resources forcefully from those who have it to give to my people. Insofar as this sort of mentality continues, then we cannot go collectively. Because we cannot go collectively on the orientation of cyprophytism or parasitism. What will make us go far is the culture of symbiosis. And that's the culture of, once you look at the cards they are playing, and you say, or the ducks they play, say, fall for me, I fall for you. Now, that orientation is being looked down on as the culture of the stupid people, the culture of the primitive people. And it is worse where spirituality has been severed away from religion, and even religion has been taken away from governance. So that today you have spiritual orientations and religious orientations that preach extreme individualism. And if you look at that, it forms the foundation of every other thing that we do. The world is not going to get holistically developed with this kind of mentality. What will happen is that resources will be taken by the high and mighty, the fast ones, going by the principle of capitalism, each according to his or her ability. Because if you see what is happening in Africa, most part of Africa, crises in most part of Africa are rife because the West ignite crisis in those places so that they can have their way to the resources of the people. That's what is happening in the so-called Sambisa forest. If you go there, the richest, the most expensive mineral is there in Sambisa forest in northeast Nigeria. It's called californium. I think a barrel of californium is going for, is it $1 million or so?
What?
Yes. Is the
Where is that at? Where is it?
Northeast Nigeria. It's called californium.
What is it? Pardon my ignorance, but what is it?
I don't know what this particular mineral looks like, but Al Mustafa, who used to be the ADC of Sani Abacha, is the one that exposed this particular secret. If you go to the place if you go to places where you have crisis in the north, Zamfara is sitting on gold. Zamfara gold is selling in Dubai. It's selling in Egypt. It's selling in the Arab world. But Nigeria makes nothing from it. If you go to Ilesha or Osun State, gold is being mined without any recourse to the people. And this is happening with the cooperation of those in power. Like Abacha said, if insecurity festers for more than 6 months in any nation, then government is part of that insecurity. It has become business for them. So what is happening today in the third world is they impose corrupt leaders and use their records to twist them to do their bidding. And so these corrupt leaders cooperate with foreign powers to loot Africa dry. That's what it means going fast. All right? That's what it means going fast. And as they do that, there's high level of poverty in the area where these minerals are derived from. So if you look at the places where there are crises in Africa, there's something that is being taken away from those places, mineral resource, agriculture, or any other thing. Now, that's exactly what it means to go fast. Individualism. Get it anyhow. Okay? Just like in Niger, France was buying the uranium and they buy for like $2 and go to the open market and sell for $200 or $2,000. I can't remember. Until through the help of Russia, the incumbent government came in and Russia said, go and sell in the open market. Now, why is Russia doing that? Russia is doing that to gain ground footage in the African continent, which is why I say we should take the olive branch offered by Russia now to get serious and get ourselves build strong institutions in those places like Traore is doing. Because I only hear of Traore in Burkina Faso. I don't know what is happening in Niger. I don't know what is happening in Mali and some other places that the Russians have empowered the government and giving them protection. What is happening in those places? And then the Russians can do that because they are sitting on a huge mineral resources, and maybe they want to, principally for me, because they want to make their way into the African continent. Because the US itself is sitting on gold mines. The US is not doing badly in terms of mineral resources. Texas alone is bigger than Nigeria, and the oil in Texas is far bigger than whatever you have in Nigeria. Yet US is interested in keeping its own mineral resource and pillage the mineral resource of others in the name of going fast, in the name of building a world power. Now, so if you look at the economic system, what they call the Keynesian economic theory, it is an advancement of traditional, raw, bourgeois, mercantilist capitalism, what they call Bourdieuism, whereby is it Bourdieuism or Boulonialism? Okay, Boulonialism. Economy based on amassing gold anywhere you amass it from and giving it value. You derive it, you steal it from the people, or you buy it at the cheapest price, then you now put a price that the people cannot even get to. And then you begin to melt it and use it to color metals and sell back to the people in high cost. That's the kind of economy. So the economy, the government system that is ruling the world today is based on going fast. Myself alone, ourselves alone, we build our country strong and by destroying other people's country. That is not going far. It will not take us far, because if I understand the spirituality, the new spirituality I'm talking about, of collective spirit, one spirit, of love, of light, of life, of humanity, it says we should cooperate. Everybody, as it is in communalism, everybody bring what you have so that you can help the other with it. Those who have ideas should come forward. Those who have raw material should come forward. Those who have other abilities and qualities should come forward. We cooperate. That is the kind of UNO we are looking at. That's the kind of world government we're looking at. And Haile Selassie mentioned this in his speech when Italians are under the El Duce, Benito Mussolini invaded Ethiopia. He made a speech, and the speech reflected that Africa was invaded and pillaged without consulting Africans. It was scrambled, partitioned, balkanized without any African presence.
Mm-hmm.
It was a question of barbing the hair of Africans without their presence, without their permission. And Bob Marley turned that into a song, whereby he said, until the philosophy by which one race is superior and another inferior is finally permanently discredited and abandoned, everywhere is war. Until the basic human right is equally guaranteed to all without regards to race, everywhere will be war. Until the color of a man's skin is no more of significance than the color of his eyes, everywhere will be war. You say, then until we do that, the dream of a world, or the dream of a world-lasting peace, root on the what is it, basic human right and so on and so forth, world rule of international morality and all that. So will remain but a bleating illusion to be pursued but never attained. That's what it means going fast. So for me, going fast is the way it's been vicious. And vice cannot build a collective spirit. Vice cannot build the world good, the collective good that the world is dreaming about. What will build the collective spirit is virtue, because virtue means we have to understand, empathize with the other. We have to regard ourselves, we have to operate the rule of equity, not equality, equity. Equity in the sense that the much I bring to the center will determine what I get in return. And so if your 10% will be bigger than my 10%, my 10% will be smaller than your 10%, but in getting back, it's left for you to now say, okay, Chair Dozier, I say, yes, your family is bigger than mine, but I have more resources than, so I'll be giving you 1% for my 10% so that you can push up. But that 1%, I must see the way you utilize it for your people. But if you don't utilize it for your people, I'll take back my 1%. Now, it takes a lot of enlightenment, a lot of courage to get to this level. The level that we see that the Danda practice, the ants, which is why by watching the mannerisms of the ant, the ancient Igbo ancestors brought the adage, Igbo ani Danda. No load, no obstacle is insurmountable for the Danda, the ants. And several times, when I was a kid, without knowing about this philosophy, I was fond of setting up bread, loaves of bread, different loaves of bread, sizes of loaves of drops of bread or crumbs. I'll drop one crumb, a bit lower, then I drop a whole slice of bread. I will drop it, and I drop the shapes, and I'll gap them. I will watch how these ants carry them, and I see that they're highly organized. One ant will come trace the food, will go back, and then it will call others. And when they come, they size up the food. When they size up the morsel of food, they go and report. By the third time, you see them come in their drones. Then you see some we go and pick those ones that are crumbs. One, they pick them. Those ones that they measure, how they measure, I don't know. You see that 10 ants are attached to one load of bread. They move it. You see that 30 are attached to another. They move it. Then the one slice, you see that they are uncountable. I'll be summarizing from 1,000 up. And before you know it, those tiny things are moving a whole loaf of bread. when then I now go and I now load it with 3 slices. They count, they see they cannot move it. So what do? They come in all their drones and bite, go and drop. Then it's like using shovel to collect what you can, and they go and drop. And when you come back there 3 days later, you see that that size of bread has shrinked. By the time you come back 21 days later, no single drop of bread is left there. When I go and open up their place, the habit, you see that those loaves of bread have been carefully tucked into different places, and you see organization, you see collective spirit, and they never lack, year in, year out. So much so that the wisdom of the ants is repeated in the Songs of Solomon. Go ye to the ants, you sluggard, and learn the ways of wisdom. And so nature itself is about going together so that we can go far. Because if nature does not cooperate and go together, everything will be in disarray. And so, but in the mannerism of human beings, because we are endowed with reason, we want to think outside the box. And that begins by this theory of self-autonomy, self-sovereignty. I, the individual, am the beginning and end of all things. So much so that Richard Nozick, one of the American philosophers, made extreme individualism the foundation of governance. Well, the Americans have rejected it in a way, but individualism still remains the bane of American political system, political organization. All right, in communalism, individualism is not abhorred. No, there's individualism. But the individual, because of the communalistic upbringing, is brought up to operate with the philosophy of Kasomadina. Let me not be alone. So whatever I do it as an individual in the midst of a group, family, village, community, country, so that whatever I do, I think of the effect it will have on the larger group. If it will affect the larger group negatively, I will swallow my pride. I will deny myself that comfort. Lin Kuan Yew said it when he was alive, that before he does anything that will benefit him as an individual, he thinks of the long-range, immediate and long-range effect on Singapore. If it's going to affect Singapore in a way that is very devastating now or in the future, he will deny himself that particular desire. So the life of going together is the life that all of us must understand the word sacrifice. And meaning that what we enjoy is what we have collectively approved for ourselves. And collectivism that I speak about is not in the way of communism. So I want to make a distinction between the communalistic approach and communalistic approach or communitarian approach and the communist approach. Communism is extreme individualism, extreme collectivism, whereby the individual is just considered to be a pawn on a chessboard. The individual is just meant to play a role. The individual has no life of his own. That's what led to the collapse of Soviet Union, where those who have the selfless mind, selfless attitude to work were overworked, and those who are selfish relaxed. In communalism, nobody is left idle. it was the practice of Africans, traditional Africans, that if you visit a family, they will welcome you well. But on the third day, you must pick up a hoe. If you don't pick up a hoe, they give you one. I don't know how the Swahili people will say this, but it's like mbili suku ngeni suku yatatu mpeyembe. That is to say, treat a stranger as a stranger for 3 days. On the third day, give him a hoe. Give her a hoe.
That's mm-hmm. He
So
becomes part of the group.
Sure. So that's why I began by stating that the culture of going far means nobody must be allowed to loiter. All able-bodied people, able-bodied in spirit, in body, and in soul, must contribute. It's a national philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody must contribute. And when you contribute, usually there are patterns of dividing your harvest or whatever you have. I think you share into 3 or 4. One portion for you, one portion for the family, one portion for the entire extended family, one portion for the village. So if we imbibe this philosophy as a nation, first we must begin it as an individual, and if it rubs up other people, will form a group, and it begins to rub up, then maybe one day it finds itself in the center of governance, and then we make exemplary of ourselves as a nation that operates on this philosophy. Then the rest of the world will begin to see what it means to go far. Because if we cooperate, we'll become like the trees in nature, like the atoms in nature, like the rivers in nature that are connected. They do not divide themselves. They are individual rivers, but all the rivers connect themselves.
They're
No
connected. That's
water
right.
is idle.
That's
Even the
right.
lake is not idle.
That's right.
Beneath the water table is connected to other waters. So no ocean stands on its own. No atom stands on its own. No tree stands on its own. Every tree connects other trees through their roots. And up there, because I came from Badagry this morning, I will pass through, I went to an inter village that connects Lagos to Ogun State. We had to pass through a forest of palm trees. And I saw that the women were growing tomatoes and vegetables under
Okay. Um, I, I, what he's saying is really quite fascinating. We've lost him a minute there. He's frozen, so we'll come back to him. But I just want to add this. When we talk about the importance of working together as a group, not as just individuals, you look at what in African spirituality, in our spirituality, Ojinko Jigosa, Ojinko Jigosa, which means whatever you have, you bring to the table. There's never a poor person. The people are poor if the society looks at the individuals as them, not us, not part of us. I had this opportunity to go to a Walmart. This was maybe a couple of years ago, and there was an elder sitting outside. You know, it was quite cold, and he's begging for food. He's asking for money. You know, sometimes they come and they ask for money, and people have a tendency to think, oh, they just want money so that they can go and drink and go do drugs. But it doesn't always mean that. It doesn't always mean that. People are desperate, and when they're out there asking for money, 9 out of 10, it's not for them to go drink. It's not for them to go and do drugs, though that does happen. But we say Ojinko Jigosa. Ojinko Jigosa. That means there's no poverty if we all rally. Whatever you have and you're willing to share will destroy, if I use that expression, the poverty we're talking about. So I'm watching this man, he's begging for food. It was very, very cold. And so, well, I had some money on me. So I told him to come in to McDonald's, because there was McDonald's I think it's not there anymore, but there was McDonald's in Walmart, and it was during Christmas, so everyone is just preparing for Christmas, buying their gifts and what have you. Everybody was in a merry way, so to speak. But this old man is outside hungry, and he looked cold, but it didn't occur to anyone to clothe him, to give him a coat, or even bring him in so that he can get something to eat. The store itself, the Walmart, they're not encouraging somebody that looks like that, I mean, is begging to come and sit there, to sit in or coming to the Walmart, let alone go and sit in McDonald's looking the way he did. So people are going past him, nobody's saying anything. And in the spirit of igusa megusa, ojinkoji gusa, whatever you have, give. So whatever I had, I said, well, let me give this guy. I told him to come on and get something to eat. Yes, he did. Oh, he bought everything. I said, ooh, he must have been really hungry, because he was from large everything, large drink, large fries, large hamburger. And, that's okay. That's cool. I could imagine that he was hungry. So I paid for his. He went and sat down, and I sat myself. I mean, I went and ordered some myself. I probably shouldn't have eaten that, but I did. So I ordered for my own. And instead of me going somewhere else to sit, I sat next to him. He was surprised that I sat next to him. He says, ma'am, you don't have to do that, really. I said, do what? He says, you don't have to sit with me. I said, oh, no, it's okay. I don't have anybody I'm sitting with, so it's okay if I sit with you. Well, at that moment, he sees himself as less than. Look at how he looked. And people are staring at him, and I'm going to go sit with him. I just saw another human being there for the grace of Chineke. That could have been me. And as a matter of fact, during the Nigerian Biafran War, my family, we were so desperate for food, we were eating anything that wasn't nailed down. So yeah, I've been there before. I've been where you couldn't, we ate mice, where we ate crickets. We ate anything. There was no food. So when people are desperate, you don't look down on them, because quite frankly, that could be you. I've seen what hunger does. I've seen when you want water to drink, and the only thing that's available is a can of water mixed with kerosene, and you drink it and you get sick. However, you're thirsty. So that man showed me, I'm so lucky. He's not so lucky. So it was nothing to sit with him. When I'm looking at all these people in their Christmas spirit, and they all saw him standing out there. They all saw him. So I got up in my mischievous way. I started singing in Africa, singing an African song. Of course, I usually do that when I want to get attention from anyone. I just go out of my comfort zone, and I introduce something that make them want to say, oh, what is she doing? What is she saying? Curiosity. So I said to all of them, I said, how many of you have seen this gentleman? I saw him outside, and they all looked at, all turned and looked at him. I said, we're celebrating Jesus's birthday on the 25th. And if Jesus came today, would you know? Would you know what he looks like? For those of you who believe, would you know what Jesus looks like when he comes? You're always talking about Jesus will come back. If Jesus has come back, would you know what he looks like? Now, this gentleman sitting here, could he be Jesus? Could he be? You don't know. And so this is why we should collectively help each other, help somebody, because you just never know who that person is. You just never know. So everybody just started, everybody started. I mean, I suppose it was a guilt. Some of them started feeling guilty and not sure. I mean, she could be right. If Jesus comes back, we don't know what he looks like. They started giving him money. People were just handing him money. That is that ojinkoji gusa, that concept of ojinkoji gusa. Whatever you have, give. Whatever you can contribute. And in that moment, that man raised $261. He couldn't get $2 outside. But when the collective came together, he raised 261, enough for him to go and stay at Red Roof Inn. Collective work, collective responsibility, it works all the time. It works all the time, and we need to get in the habit. That is our spiritual philosophy. Ojinko Jigosa. All of us pull it together. Let me bring Dibia Chedozie back. Dibia, I'm so sorry. You were frozen, so I had to take you out from. So you know, if I don't see when I see that somebody is struggling. If I see somebody struggling, I don't like to make the excuse I don't have. You know, I may not have. Yes, well, let me do this. I may not have at the moment. I may not have too much to give, but I can always give something, no matter how small. When somebody doesn't have anything, no matter how much you give them, they will embrace it, they will accept it, and it would help them. So there's this whole concept, and that's why African spirituality is not that technical. It just has a lot to do with common sense and empathy. We've lost that. You know, I was in I had a program, and one woman was trying to make sure that she reminded me that she was, you know, that she was a Christian. She was a Christian. I said, it's a good thing that you're a Christian. There's nothing wrong with that. That's your belief. But why do you have to keep saying that? Show me your religion. Don't tell me. And then the very person making all that noise turned around and did something really terrible. I don't want to go into all of that. So it's not who you are. It's what you are, what you do with who you are, how you help the collective. That is the power of collective collective work, shared goals and responsibilities. If all of us can see our struggling humanity as our responsibility and say, Ojinko Jigosa, whatever you give, do you realize that if you have a community of 1,000 people, okay, 200,000 people in this community, I'm talking about 200,000 adults in this community, right? Whether they're working or not, somebody has $1. Somebody has $1. Most people have $1. Now, can you imagine if they set up a bank account, a community bank account, where every month, everybody in that community puts in $1? How much money would they have monthly? $200,000. Right? So there's nothing like we don't have. It's not like, oh, we don't have. You know, you hear people say, oh, I don't have anything. No. If collectively, now some people, I made this suggestion at one point. Said, well, you know what's going to happen. They'll eat it, and you know, if you focus on what will happen to the money more than how do we get the money, it will never take off.
No.
But 200 and something thousand dollars every month in the cost of that community. That will help with the children. It will help with so much for that community. We're talking about monthly, 200,000 people giving $1. You tell me you can't do for your community. In that community, you will not have poor people. You will not have homeless people in the streets. 200,000 every month should help a few people pay their rent. It will help a few people with food. It will get people off the streets. Now, suppose you have a community of 1 million adults. You can't tell me they can't come up with $1 each. If you have 1 million adults who can come up with $1 each, even a quarter, even 50 cents. That is the power of doing something together. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. If we can bring, if we are now focused on who's going to eat that money and all that stuff, we will never get started pulling the resources. In Nigeria, Dibia, we call it Aboga. Aboezia.
I didn't get that.
Is that true?
You seize the beat.
At home, Itoto. Itoto.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Itoto, yeah.
Itoto, yeah. Everybody.
And that's how we have mostly developed our villages.
That's it. That's how villages. There's no
because,
processing.
like I said the other time, this one of the programs, was it early this year? If not by this collective spirit, my village, there was a time everybody ran away from my village because of the invaders. But we met and said it will happen. And so what did we do? We started contributing. And so we started looking, yes, we're a small village, but how many of us have? We started tabulating. We calculated that 5,000 of us have. We started saying, if 5,000 people can contribute 1,000 naira every week, 5,000 times 1,000, that's 500,000 naira every week.
Yes.
So every week we do 1,000 naira. We did not say, and then some people start saying, when they started seeing result, we now form vigilante group. We equipped them. We got the military involved for defense. We started building police station so that those criminals, when they see the presence of government, they have to run away. So it's a pity that we have to buy all that our own. The government had to provide it for us, but it didn't happen that way. So, but we didn't wait for government. We contributed money, 500,000 naira every week. And so it means that in a month we are 2 million. And it means that at the end of the year we had 24 million. And then some people that saw that it was using result, some on their own brought out 10 million, some brought out 20 million on their own. And we didn't know people like that there are people who had such money amongst us.
Yes.
Until that started. So that's the thing that they going far. Now today, my village, because people now saw this, they saw it and say, the smallest village, we are the oldest of the 3 villages. But the other ones are richer than us, but they were sacked and they all ran away. We said, when those people invaded us, the second time, the third time, we said it will not happen. And so we decided to show how our little effort could go far. When they saw what we did, they said, if these small people can do this, what about them? So that rubbed off on other communities, and they started doing the same. So that whole zone now is a free zone. I went home just a couple of weeks ago, just less than a month. I could drive, I could do anything, security everywhere. There was presence of government. Unlike before that, we had to go down to Umuahia or Isuochi. We have the presence of government. We have built a center, like a headquarters, where the military, so you see them there and they parade. And so the place is safe. That is what the collective effort does. And some of the people have used
I'm sorry. And what it does for the citizens, what it does for the people is that they know that there's somebody that cares about them and that they're not alone, that they're part of a community. I see a lot. Okay, now recently, right here in the U.S., there are lots of homes for the elderly that are closing due to cuts to Medicaid and all that sort of thing. And I say some of them are in some Black communities where a lot of our elders are going to be struggling. Who's to take care of them? What's to happen to them? You know what this is what I say. If we, as a collective community, will put money together, go to one of these banks and open an account and have the bank monitor the money. So that we don't have to be saying, this person will eat the money and all that. No, let the bank monitor the money and let all of us know what that account is. And we go and put $1 there, $2, whatever you can afford. Put it there. You have a community bank. You have a community account that will take care of our elders. Why should our elders die? There's enough of us to make sure that they don't. That's why, this is the African spiritual precepts that we have lost. Don't leave your brother or sister behind. If you give, listen, pay attention. What's going on? How can you help? Why can't we do that? Why can't we work as a community, as a collective, to ensure our people are not strong? I mean, we are in a situation that's so bad. Our people are struggling. This guy was talking about, he was on TikTok talking about committing suicide. He can't feed his family. He's talking about killing himself and others, and people are talking to him. Say, don't do that. It will happen. God will. I said, the man doesn't need you to tell him what God's going to do. He's already talked to God. And you know what? God, Chineke, whatever you want to call, whatever the name you have for the creator, has already directed him to you. That's why he's on TikTok telling you what he's about to do, and he needs help. And you're telling him to pray to God. We got to each other. If this man has come to TikTok to tell you, I'm so desperate, I'm going to take my life because I can't feed my family. I can't. And all of you guys, what are you doing? You praying for him. We're going to pray for you. The Lord is your, come on. That's not what he's looking for. He said he can't feed his family. There are enough of us to give that man $100,000 so he can take care of his family. All we have to do is 100,000 of us decide to give $1. One. But no, we're praying. We're telling him, pray, believe, trust. He's already done that. That's why he's asking you to help him. You know? So I mean, there are things that we should be doing to cultivate a community so that we don't suffer when things go south. We suffer because we're thinking as individuals, not as a collective. That day I told you, this man couldn't get $1 standing at the door. Everybody was celebrating the holidays until I put that question to them. What if Jesus came today? Would you know? He may come as that poor old man. It was when they thought, what if? That's when they started giving him the money. That's when they started giving money. Everybody. So I said, wow. So you all have this kind of money? But while he was out there and you saw him as an insignificant being, you didn't care about his poverty. You didn't care that he was in the cold. But when you thought about, oh, if this is Jesus, I may not go to heaven, you became selfish. It became about you. Where would I go if that's him and I didn't give? So everybody was just throwing money at him. He couldn't believe it. The man was just sitting there. He said, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. 261. I told him, count your money. And I told them, this is what happens when we care. And this is what happens when we do it collectively. You may not have it to give a whole lot, but dear God Almighty, when we all collectively give, I think that Black America should have a bank account that all of us do what Africans do. Etonto. That bank account, let the bank handle it. Everybody knows. This is self-preservation. This is how we survive in the midst of all this chaos and sensitivity towards us. We have enough money that we should be able to raise every month at the minimum $3 million per month if collectively Black people decided to put just $1. There are enough of us to create that kind of wealth. That's, we see and then people can apply. People who are in distress can apply to get some help. If you're going to be kicked out on the street, go to this bank. and they will pay for your light bill. They'll pay for your, for our people. So our people are, so many of us are struggling, but we have enough of us that it shouldn't be. No, we're not talking about making each other rich. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting us out of the problem. Some of these little problems that we have. Elders. Now, somebody did say, Akachi did say something that which is true. Nursing homes. Nursing homes are our culture. We keep our elders with us. But there are some individuals who can't keep their elders at home for whatever the reason is. And she's right. That is our culture, that we keep them at home. But in the event that we can't, they still shouldn't suffer wherever they are. If we had our own banks, if we had that Black bank account, African bank account that takes care of the needs. Now, Dibia Chedo's here. Think about that.
Yeah.
It's not novel, I'm suggesting. Everybody, think about the whole Black world. Think about the whole Black world putting in so much money in their country for the poor. We would do so much better as a people.
Yeah, the spirit of stakeholding. Collectivism is the spirit of stakeholding, not shareholding. It's stakeholding. Yeah. So let's be stakeholders in our community. And when we stakehold, we cooperate to make sure that nobody falls below the humanistic line of existence. That's what one of my friends, Akini, showed me practice. That's what he did when he got to, there's this area in Lagos called Fadei. So he bought a house there, an old house, and started refurbishing the house. And then when he started doing that, somebody asked him, say, but your family, that the man's family background, he's from a rich family background. Why is he coming to an area full of area boys where to buy a house? Why he could afford Banana Island and a house in the Banana Island, house in Ikoyi Extension. He could afford those places in the Lekki Peninsula and all that. He said, well, that the problem with those areas is that he is an African to the core. He likes to come out and see people. He likes to come out and get things on the street that he wants, like bread and other groceries that he needs. Not the one that somebody has to come to look for him and is communicating with computer. And the computer, you press a button to open. For you to get something, you have to go to ShopRite. And the ShopRite is like some miles away. So he's not used to that kind of life. They're not asking, how is he going to do the issue of security? So they should leave that to him. So that the area he bought a house in is area boy bucked, infested. He said they should leave that to him. So when he started refurbishing, some of the area boys, the leaders came and said, what is wrong with you? You think you can just come here and start doing things without coming to pay homage? Then he was just there smiling. And he said, when they saw he didn't make trouble, he was smiling. I said, Egmont, what do you have for us? He said, yes, how much do you want? He said, no, you have to drop 100,000. If you don't drop 100,000, we will not do this. We will not do that. They asked him, so is it 100,000 that all of you will share? He said, yes. Okay, I will give you 300,000. He said, but you will come in 1 week, I'll give you that 300,000. He said, He said, but when I give you that 300,000, you will do every of my bidding. He said, no problem. So in 1 week time, he called them, he gave them the 300,000. So they were all happy, jubilating. Then he called them. He said, come. Now you have to do my bidding. He said, what bidding? He said, you will go and sit down and write what in areas of your competence, what you can do. Write it down. All the area boys. Don't write your name. Write your nicknames and all the kind of names you bear and say what you are competent in. So he discovers there are those who learn a wedding, those who learned how to do one trade or the other, and they were using those trades to bug homes. So after writing that, he now, being a journalist that is well known, he now called a meeting of that area, that whole area of the Landlord Association.
Uh-huh.
He called the landlord and said, you know, you are the ones who are responsible for all this insecurity here. They said, how? He said, come. Everybody is putting huge gates and high walls. Has
Yes.
that prevented them from penetrating? Sometimes through the backyard, they
Yes.
bore a hole through and enter and steal all night, and you are not able to do anything. So the high walls are not even able to protect you. So they say, what's the solution? He said, he now asked, is there any house in this vicinity that cannot afford 50,000 naira per month for your
Hmm.
own safety? And they looked around. He said, he counted over 500 houses, and each one, there are some that are owned by landlord, like his own. There are about 4 other flats he put on rent
Hmm.
outside his own. He said, is there any one of you that cannot afford 50,000 naira a month for the now to the next 6 months? So what would they do with that? Say, gather it first. So when they appointed a leader, he said, no, he will not. He initiated the idea, he will not be the leader. So they appointed a leader, somebody they know is very honest. So they gathered
Mm-hmm.
the 50,000 naira times 500. You know, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when they gathered it the first month, he now called bankers among them. He said, okay, we are not going to use the big bank. We are going to use investment banks. So they went to
Mm.
microfinance bank. They put the money there. Then they called the area boys. So, okay, each one of you, this is what you'll be doing. You have to, those who land security, will be paying you. Others that are into trade, this is what you do. You'll be doing this, you'll be doing that, you'll be doing that, and then we'll be giving you job. So he called those people who are to, they started giving them jobs in their companies. And that's how within 6 months, all that area died down. The
Hmm.
area down boys became the security for
There
that
you go.
area.
There you
So
go.
now
That's collective work.
the fight that you witness in that area ceased, and that has
Mm-hmm.
rubbed off in all the other environs. So
Mm-hmm.
you see, that's what collective work did. We did that in my village, and that has rubbed off
Yes.
in the other
Yes.
environment. And so that's exactly the cooperative spirit of cooperation, cooperative spirit, and that's why we have
Mm-hmm.
cooperatives. Like I,
Mm-hmm.
for one, now I don't think that based on my salary, I'll be able to build a house.
Mm-hmm.
But when people follow me to the village, they say, you are rich. I said, I'm not rich. It's cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, something is taken away from my salary. And so I finish paying a loan for 2 years. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
when I get some business and do, and then how much is left of my, they say, oh, maybe 1,000,000, 500,000, 200,000. I balance it, take another 4 or 5 million naira. Home, I rush and make sure before that money finishes, I spend it there. Before you do that for two, 3 times to 4 times, you complete your project. That's
Mm-hmm.
what is spirit
Mm-hmm.
of cooperation. That's what
Operation.
it does. Well, but
Yes.
like I said, like you try to educate those other people, we must learn the ways of virtue, of stakeholding,
Mm-hmm.
of learning that I must deny myself something for others to be. And when
For
others
others to
are,
find.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
continuous attitude. We
That's
all would not be equal. Like this, that's why I talked about equity. My 5 fingers are not equal.
mm-hmm.
But none of these 5 fingers will be complete without the other.
That's right. Each one has
So
a
the
purpose.
beauty of my hand is that my 5 fingers are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And like somebody says, this little thumb that stands out equals this four.
Yes.
And so each one of these fingers are not equal, but they cooperate and
Mm-hmm.
they don't discriminate. And there's
Yes.
another saying the Yoruba say, one of the Yoruba saying, the tongue, though the teeth may bite the tongue and bite the cheek.
Mm-hmm.
It may bite the tongue and injure the cheek, but they
Mm.
have no choice. They have to live together. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why to do that kind of living collectively, you must learn the spirit of brotherhood, the spirit of sister,
Yes.
humanity,
Yes.
togetherness, stakeholding, ready
Yes.
to, like you showed, you were exemplary there by not just buying food for the man and leaving there, distancing. You show him that he's a person. He should have confidence in himself. He should go inside himself and discover himself. He should believe in himself. And then you let others see why it is necessary to pull this individual out of that level of existence and pull him up. It is when we do that that we are humans. If we don't do that, we are not humans. What we just say is that we are people who just have, who are affluent and we have the means to live, and we are ravishing it. It is when you are able to say, okay, yes, I'm going to eat. Is it lunch? This lunch I'm going to eat. I'm going to spend maybe $500. I'm going to eat buffet. But you discover that if you ate $150, it's as good as eating $500. So why not eat that $150 and use the remaining $350 to help others?
That's right. He said,
that is stakeholding.
That's right.
You will discover that if you eat that $150, you eat the essentials that will help your body. But if you eat $500, at the long run, you discover that you eat those things you don't need, that are injurious to your body. So you stakeholding means I live healthily, I live holistically, but in doing so, I also let others live. Because I grew up in area whereby when I was growing up, the place they call Lekki, phase 1, phase 2, used to be Morocco. So I visit friends, and we were living in the barracks. So our brothers would go home with the little money our daddy would give to him, go to Igbo, go to my 12, and buy things and bulk. And in my 12, when you go to my 12, Okoko Michael, like today, I came through that side. I discovered that my 12, I thought it was cheap. It's not cheap. Yeah, we used to buy a basket, small basket of tomato for 5,000. But I went to Coco and I bought the same, a bucket, a bit bigger for 1,500. So I bought 6,000 naira worth of tomato. That 6,000 naira worth of tomato is what will buy 25,000 naira in my 12. So I am saving 19,000.
Oh my.
Now, I'm saving 19,000. Now, in the process of doing that, someone was there and was looking at me, and I discovered she's a woman. And so I, instead of the fifth bucket I wanted to buy, I gave it to her. And then I also bought some pepper, and she was thankful. So I got my own, at least it will last us for some time. She got her own. That's what it means. Take care of somebody.
That's right. That's how blessings come back to you. That's how blessings come back to you.
So it may be hurtful to your skin that moment. It may brush your ego. But over time, you learn to that you learn that is the way life should be. And over time, it becomes a habit. A habit that is no longer anything to you. You just discover that, look, if I eat $500, I eat a lot of rubbish. But if I eat $150, I eat what I need.
But Divya said,
yes.
Divya, wealth is not always financial. Yeah. Wealth can also be spiritual wealth. You can feel so good that you've done something, that you just cloud nine. There's this movie star who refuses. He's extremely wealthy. I'm trying to think of his name right now. But anyway, he still travels in the train. He wears regular jeans. He doesn't drive fancy cars. He rides his bicycle, but he's a multi-millionaire, right? And he will purposefully get on the train, and if he sees somebody who's in dire need, he will take care of their needs. And he makes them talk to him. Keanu Reeves, that's his name. Keanu Reeves will just spend his money on people, and he walks amongst regular folks. He doesn't act like he's rich, because his wealth comes in the fact that, in the knowledge that when I help somebody, that sense of it's a sense of accomplishment that you develop, that you help somebody because of
Yeah.
you. Somebody has a better life, has a better day, or something like that. So, you know, if you want to be a spiritual person, you need to get in the habit of understanding, well, what I said earlier. What was that word again? Uh, whatever it is you have, you give. Whatever little. You know, when you stop, when you stop by a homeless person and they're asking, and you say, I don't have a dollar. Don't give a dollar. Give a dime. If you don't have a dollar, give a dime. If you don't have a dime, give a quarter. But give something.
Just
Give
give
a penny.
something.
Give something. Ojinkoji, gosa. Whatever you have, give. Now, I want to take this time now and look at some of the comments that we have here, and we can have a conversation over it. This is from Akachi Neke. Communalism is germinating in Houston as we focus on securing the Black community's food production through agricultural empowerment and economics, given the state of U.S. political affairs. Yes, you know, at some point, we have to decide that we're responsible for our good or lack thereof. We have to help ourselves, particularly when you're in a society where you don't seem to matter. Your needs are not important. You know you matter. You know your people do. So you have to do whatever is within your power to create whatever that can be sustainable to help the whole. Do not leave your brother and sister behind. Ni feba, ogre feba. No feba, ogre feba. If you're making a soup, right? Every little bit makes that soup. You know what I'm saying? It takes all of us to build our community. So yes, it's wonderful that Houston is doing this food production, because a lot of our people live in food deserts. What that means is that a lot of our people don't have food, access to real food. They go to gas stations. People actually shop at gas stations to buy, you know, unhealthy food, because there's no other stores near them, or they have to take Uber or Lyft or something to get to an actual store. So for them to do that, it's maybe once a week or something like that. And if they don't have enough money, they can only buy so much. But if there's something in the community, you know, that can give them fresh food instead of just what you find at the gas stations, which is really, you know, all those fatty stuff. Yeah. So Akachi, you're right. It's in the state of affairs that America is in, it's absolutely a necessity that we start looking to each other and start building for, you know, whatever it's going to take to make us survive. It's called survive. We live in a Serengeti now. America is now a Serengeti, survival of the fittest, because our government is, you know, I'm not even going to get into that, but we need to look to each other to survive. You know? Yeah, very much so. So that's one. And here's another comment here for that as well. Oliver Farms, it's a Black farmer, and Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church have given away 1,000 fruit. Have given away, I think, 1,000 fruit trees, 5 foot tall, and 3,000 vegetable plants. It was incredible. Can you imagine? This is what happens when the collectives come together. You know, there's a song with Ojinkoji, go say boom. Ojinkoji, go say boom. Whatever you have, bring it. Let's work together. But somebody said, I think it's Kimi Bro said, it's cooperative economics. You know, the cooperative economics. You know, which is a principle of Kwanzaa. It's nothing new information. I'm sure he was referring to the fact that I was talking about us, you know, having money that we can a bank account for us. You know, FUBU for us by us. It's not just a matter of clothing. It's also a matter of being able to financially help each other. No, as far as I'm concerned, if we work together, Black folks will not be struggling. We're rich. African Americans are rich. African Nigerians are rich. Kenyans are rich. Every black world is rich. And why are we rich? Because collectively, we can pool resources to help those who are less fortunate. It's our culture. If you're a farmer, you always, after you've harvested, you always tie some food to a tree or to a fence, so that those who don't have, like maybe those who are handicapped, those who can't farm, the elderly, they come by and they don't need your permission because you've already put it out there, and they go and take what you have put out there for them. That is community. That is community. That is our way of thinking. We're not thinking about where we're going to go when we die. Matter of fact, in African spirituality, you're hoping that you get to become an ancestor, not to go and sit in ancestral world and, but you want to be an ancestor so that you can continue to look after spiritually your community. You want to be a part of the good for the community, even after you've left this earth. That is our spiritual way of life. And I say, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're in America or Nigeria or Ghana, wherever you are. As long as you're a person of African descent, you must think collectively. What can you do in your community? If there's an elder, yesterday, my elderly neighbor, they said that she had fallen or something. I'm not sure what happened to her. But I was driving, I drove past her house and I saw a doctor coming out of the house, dressed in his, medical garb. I could tell right off the bat, that's a doctor. So I said, when I come back, I'm going to go over there and see what's wrong with her, Well, she's my neighbor. And I felt it was my responsibility as a neighbor to go and check in on my neighbor. Is she okay? Is there something I can do? But we get to the point that we don't look at ourselves collectively. It's me, myself, and I. Some people I can tell you in my neighborhood, you see people going for walks and all, but 9 out of 10 times you don't even know who your neighbor is. You don't speak to them. They're all in the house. Me, myself, it's not even a community. But Dibia Che Dozier, and I know some people will say, well, is that you? Yeah, I know some people may say, oh, it's different, in Africa. And no. Wherever you are is your community. It doesn't have to be in Africa. Yes.
Yeah, this thing you are saying, I just remember that without this spirit of communalism, we would not have been able to survive the war, because I was told by those who experienced the war and the aftermath that the aftermath of the war was worse than the war itself.
Yes.
So what made the Igbo to survive was the community spirit. And that's what led to the Igbo apprenticeship scheme that is being studied worldwide today. And so that Igbo apprenticeship scheme, I have a PhD student under me who is researching into it. And it is dying away because this culture of Christianity is taking over our communalistic spirit.
Yes.
And incidentally, the guy doing the research is a pastor. He owns a church. But he is now turning his church into a way of preaching African communalism. And so I asked him, I said, Apostle Josh, why are you doing this? He said, because he has come to discover that Christianity is a scam, that the real religion is our own spirituality. And so since people are running away from our spirituality, he will use the avenue of his church to teach them the tenets of African spirituality. And they are following him. He's located from Lagos back to the east. He's going into agriculture, so he has to feed people. And so and then the Igbo apprenticeship scheme is dying because the communalistic spirit, the spirituality that sustained it, has been supplanted by the Christian spirit of individualism. And so the spirit of going together to go far is a spirit of self-reliance, but now what they call social self-reliance, not just self-reliance of I alone, social self-reliance, where every individual is looking at it has help from a backing from the other. Like that, I
Yeah.
don't know who sang that song. Lean on me when you are not strong.
Yeah,
Okay.
lean on me. That's right. That's right. I
So
want to answer this one. This is
yes.
the Amish does that in communities. The Amish communities, they do that. They work collectively. And then
Yes.
those of us who are not part of that community, now that doesn't include me necessarily, but people look at them as they are weird. Oh, no, they're quite satisfied helping each other. There's no, oh, this person is richer than that person. It's all of
No.
us, all of us rise together.
No.
So that is
In communalism, there are individuals who are rich, but those individuals, their mentality is that they are rich. Their wealth is not for them. Their wealth is useless if others are not endowed.
you know what,
So,
and the other thing, DBS Dozier, that our people need to understand the concept of compound, and Akimi Bro brought that up. The compound, that's why, and what Akachiku Akachineke said makes a whole lot of sense in terms of how we take care of the elders. We have a compound where mom and dad build their home, then the children come along and build their own, right? And they are in the same compound. So mom and dad are taken care of by the children. So when
sure.
here, this person builds in Michigan, or this person is in California, or this person is in Texas, and people are just every which way. And then mom and dad are in North Carolina and are dying. You see what I'm saying? But in our spiritual way of life, we have compounds.
That's the
We have
communalism.
compounds.
That's the communalism.
Yeah.
The
And that's how we
communalism
help each
is
other.
that in whatever we do, we build a network system of social self-reliance.
There you go.
Because it's all about stakeholding, togetherness, togetherness, solidarity. Like we say, mbikota bondo, mbisha se bong. That's exactly what you've narrated now. Living together, going together is living, is life. Living apart, living scatteredly is death.
Yes.
And that's why you see that the agents are not taken care of. The government cannot do that. It is what I, as an individual, has to deny myself that comfort. I know that this old man once took care of me, paid my fee. This old woman fed me. They were my caretakers. So now, my stakeholding now is that I take care of them.
Take care of them. That's right. That's it right there. We must get. I think that sometimes we think, oh, because we're here in the United States or wherever, we can't do all that. Yes, you can. Yes, we can, and we must. We must begin. This star. I can't think. Sometimes I just can't remember some of these people, but I watch their shows. In Living Color, I don't remember one of the brothers. He made his children. He got this whole community, right? And all his children live in the same community. All of them have their homes right there. He says the joy of his life is to get up in the morning and go for a walk, and there's his grandson, or that other grandson, or maybe his granddaughter, or maybe his daughter, and they say hello to each other, and they walk around, they walk with each other, and as he's getting older, he knows he'll be okay because his whole family lived next to him, But unfortunately, we've gotten into this whole concept of, a child is 18 years old, right? Then once they're 18, they got to go, right? Oh, they're too old. They cannot be here. They have to, No, but it's family. That's how family sustain itself. Chasing people away because of age, that is not a. You are supposed to be a part of, you may not necessarily live in the house, but you should, if you want to buy a house close by your mother and your father. Buy something close so that you keep an eye on them. They're getting old. Parents get old. And if you're going to buy a home, try buying something that it takes you just about 10 minutes to get to see your parents, or 10 minutes for your parents to go see you.
In the spirit of communalism, when you think that, okay, from a home, we are 30, 10, 15 of us are now affluent. Instead of buying a home myself, why not let's contribute and buy a compound where all of us can live?
All of us can live. That's
We
it.
all
That's
have
the
our
spirit.
homes within the compound, and we make a rule of
Yes,
how to live in the compound,
that's
or we
it.
make rules of how to live in the compound.
Yeah, but the thing also being, if we had that mindset, somebody may have children that may be in need, be in need, dad may be in need, but they don't have to worry because they know who's around them.
Yeah.
Hey, I would love my children to live near me. I would love it. It would be a passion, if I could have my kids build their homes near where I am, because I'm getting older. I know someday it's not, things are not going to be
No,
as
I
I'm not
personally
going to
have
be as
told my
fly as
children.
I am now.
Yes, I personally
At
have told
some
my children.
point,
I told them, I
at,
said,
at,
wherever they are in this world, they must know that wherever they are in this world, they should
yeah,
not be thinking of going abroad to stay.
uh-huh,
They should think of what they want to do here.
uh-huh,
And so they will not all go abroad at the same time. One
uh-huh.
person will remain here and keep that thing alive. You go and then you bring others. You'll be alternating how to
That's
enrich
right.
and build that in here. And it
Yeah,
must have its foundation in the village, so that
yeah.
when we finish in the city, we will go back to the village and live a homely life. Then all your
Yes,
children and my grandchildren, I will be the one taking them to school. I will
yeah,
have and then enrich. I told them, begin to think of how to enrich the community schools, because that's where
yes,
your children will go. And I'll be the
yes,
one taking them there. And
yes,
that's the thing I want. And I said, say, oh,
yeah,
well, daddy is good. They'll do that. I said, fine, if you do that for me, that's what I want. I don't want
okay.
you are in Australia, the other one is in
Well,
Brazil.
it's true. It's true what you're saying, because we've got families that the parents died, and the parents. One of the biggest regrets I have in my life, I will be honest with you. My father passed away here in the United States, where the family was here with him. But when mother passed away, those of us that were abroad were not there. That is something I
Mm,
have to live with every single day of my life. That my mother, that bore me, took care of me when I was nothing, died, and nobody was there. All of
wow.
us, all of us were here. The day that my mother passed away, only I think the three of her children were there. The rest of us, none of us were there. None of us were there. So I am haunted every day when I remember how she passed away. We were not there. So it
Mm,
is not, it is because we're all, doing our own thing. So in May, this coming May, I'm going back home, and I'm going to be there for several months. I'm going to be there for several months, so that I'll do whatever I have to do to prepare my children, so that they can have their own compound in Nigeria. They can have their own compound at home. They can still have a home here, but they will have their own home, so that when I'm no longer here, I know that they are okay in Nigeria. They're okay in Africa. Okay, we have to create that kind of environment for each other. We will spend the money. Akachi says we will spend the money to secure ourselves from them who have not, or spend the money to make sure they have. The reality is not they or them, it's we. That's right. It's about us. It's about us. We must think about what's good for the collective, because ultimately, as we get older, and maybe some things, we get poorer or whatever, our community takes care of us. Akachi says we are the richest people on earth. That's, yeah. Everyone creates wealth from, yes, from us, and yet we don't have money. So tapping into it, and that's what's his name is doing in Burkina Faso, tapping into
sorry.
it, and then Traore, and that the good thing is that the people recognize it. The people recognize the importance of collective work, and that's powerful. And that's what's so exciting about what he's doing. Last comment here. What about when a parent refuses to move where their children are, have opportunity to care for them? They want to stay put. What? Well, it's kind of hard for parents to be uprooted, right? Because they built their lives around there, around where they are, So it's rather difficult for them to move from their comfort zone into where maybe they're younger people and, that sort of thing. It's something that the family has to work out, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, then it's certainly a better, the young person is certainly, I can imagine, wants to grow their own wings and fly away and go to where they feel happy. But it's also important. It's something of discussing what's best for both, what's best for the young, what's best for the elder. Yes.
Well, I think the simple way out of this is that the young should remember that they will one day be like their parents. And so instead of trying to let their parents come to them, they should think a way of putting in money as a group from the family to develop something where their parents are that yields economic value, so that they could have their parents, their own children live with their parents, and some of them live with their parents, managing that particular project. That way, we will be bridging the gap between the age, because the problem now is that we have been screwed in the mind by this theory that once you are developing, you begin to move from village economy to city economy, to a cosmopolitan economy. It is not true. You can grow by putting all that you need in civilization in the villages, and the Asians are proving that. The Asians, why it is difficult for the economy to be collapsed is that the economy is strong from the village level to family level to state level to federal level, and all the federal level does is warehousing. The real production is at the village family level. So they have reversed the trend that the West told us about. So our problem is that we are following what we have learned in school. We have refused to follow what our forefathers told us, that Akosinuna Apuiji. But now,
Sankofa. Go back to the source. Sankofa, go back to the source. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. We end the program at this point. I thank you so very much for joining us. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so. Chiism live on YouTube. Thank you, Sovereign, for being here with us. DOCC, thank you. Thank you, Akachineke. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you, JVST. Thank you, Kimi Bro. Thank you for all of you. And if I haven't called your name, we appreciate you being here. You all take care. And of course, if you live in Georgia, take the time, if you can, and join us as we celebrate the peace conference. And it will be wonderful for you to be a part of it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for being with us. And we look forward to seeing you. If you're not, then the following Sunday, we shall see you. Thank you. And as we say in Igbo, welcome, Black Prime Minister Nzeribe. Thank you, Kim Nzeribe. How are you? How are you? Thank you for joining us. We didn't mean to not see you. We just saw you. Okay. So anyway, thank you, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks, actually, if you want to be at the conference. Yagazino. Dibia Chedozie. Thank you very much. Okay. Yagazie. Okay.